you want?" His accent was thick. He was new and obviously unnerved from the screaming inside. "I am the boy's mother," Catherine said, trying to catch her breath. Despite the number of months living here in the Himalayas, she had never entirely adjusted to the thinness of the air. She started for the door, but he blocked her path. She looked up, glaring at him. "My son is having a nightmare. If you don't let me in, you may bring his displeasure upon you." She took another gulp of air. "And I'm sure neither of us wants that, do we?" It was a ploy she used more and more often, and given Eric's recent outbursts of anger, it usually worked. Changes were happening with her son just as they had with their friend Michael Coleman. Although Eric's supernatural powers continued to grow, the tender mercy and compassion he'd once exhibited had begun to die. The deterioration that Coleman had fought in himself was now happening to her son. It was all Eric could do to control his hostility, an unfortunate reversal and not-so-minor side effect of man trying to reproduce the genes of God. There was another scream, muffled this time, almost whimpering. Catherine's gaze remained fixed on the guard. She would not back down. He shifted again, glancing around the courtyard, obviously hoping for someone to rescue him, but there was only Catherine. He took another breath, swallowed, then finally nodded and stepped aside. Catherine brushed past him and threw open the door. The room was several times larger than hers, an eclectic mixture of East meets West. Saffron silk drapes here, the latest computers and monitors stacked over there. A giant blue-skinned Krishna statue leaned against one plastered wall, while posters of the latest rock idols were taped on another. And there, writhing and tossing in the giant four-poster bed, was young Eric. Catherine raced to him, scooping him into her arms. He was still asleep and whimpered slightly until she began to rock him. "Shh, now shh." Instinctively, he wrapped his arms around her, clinging to her as he had when he was a baby. Emotion rose deep within Catherine, tightening her throat and making it ache. She'd read once that there was no love more pure than a mother for her child. She agreed. Despite his outbursts, despite the embarrassments he caused, he was her son. He would always be her son. "It's okay," she whispered hoarsely as they continued to rock. "It's just a dream. It's okay." He stirred, then opened his eyes. She kissed the top of his head. "Was it Hillel?" she whispered. "Did he show you something scary again?" Eric gave no response but turned his head and continued to cling. Catherine had her answer. Originally, she had been wary of Hillel's appearances to her son, but after listening to half a dozen experts on the subject who insisted Eric was communicating with his guardian angel or a spirit guide, and after reading another dozen books extolling the benefits of such communication, Catherine had begun to relax. A little. As an embittered preacher's kid who was toying with returning to the faith, she could find nothing wrong with her son's experiences. Wasn't the Bible chock full of angels speaking and directing people? Why should Eric, with his heightened sensitivity to the supernatural, experience anything less? Hillel was careful never to reveal his exact identity. But, because of his piercing insight into political situations and the absolute accuracy of his predictions, which he communicated to the cartel through Eric, several thought he might be the departed spirit of some military genius, perhaps Napoleon or Alexander the Great. Those with a vivid imagination suggested Eric could be channeling some wise and benevolent alien from another planet, while many with a more scientific bent suggested that Hillel was merely a subconscious extension of Eric's own supernatural giftedness. It made no difference. The point is, everyone was positive Hillel was good. The books, the counselors, Eric, the specialists.